The culture is absolutely...
The gut ain't running there. Calling both games.
If you want someone to blame for how chaotic and calamitous this NFL offseason has been, you already know where to look. What do you get when you combine one of the worst GMs in football, an openly incompetent organization that's been terrible for years, and second-tier free agents being thrown way too much money in the hopes that they'll come to this shithole? A team that completely breaks the league. Jacksonville, what the hell have you done? Cam Robinson getting the franchise tag? Are you a charity? Brandon Sheriff is solid for what he's paid, but what about Foye Oluokun, Fole Fotakasi, and Darius Williams? Massively overpaid. Zay Jones and the stone hands of Evan Engram given way too much money as well for what they provide. However, that isn't what set off the butterfly effect. You know what did? Christian Kirk. He's a good wideout, but for what they're paying him? $18 million a year. Number one wideout money? For a guy who's never been a headliner? $175 million in guaranteed money thrown out? What the fuck is wrong with you? No wonder why everyone's got their goddamn clown outfits on, because only a circus would pay these wages to this caliber of athlete. Everywhere in war rooms throughout the NFL, they glare at the Jags, for they've single-handedly done more for the compensation of labor than the league has done for years. We'll probably call it a tax write-off.
With the first pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Trayvon Walker, linebacker, Georgia.
Nobody knew what the Jags were going to do here. Doug Peterson wanted Ekwonu, Bulkey wanted Walker, and Shad Khan wanted Hutchinson. Sounds like Jacksonville to have chaos behind the scenes. At the end of the day, Bulkey somehow ended up winning like always. Trayvon is a physical freak, which is why they were so infatuated with him. Why he shot up draft boards like a cannon in the weeks before the draft. Do you trust Jacksonville to develop him, though? He wasn't used as a typical edge rusher at Georgia. Knowing the Jags' instability, I fear for his future. Best case scenario, he's traded in 3 years to kickstart another rebuild.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select Devin Lloyd, linebacker, Utah.
Jacksonville did need a replacement for Myles Jack. Devin Lloyd was the best available inside linebacker when they traded up and should do well in their new system. That hopefully won't suffer the same fate as many other excellent prospects that brought it from within. Regardless of pessimism, his impact should be immediate. And the Jags can't be as embarrassingly awful as they were last season. Can they? It can't get any worse than it did last season for Duval, right? Shad Khan may still be a clown that gets pushed over at the slightest breeze, but they have respectable NFL coaches leading the show this time around. Plus Trent Baalke, but he'll hopefully get mauled by a bear in the opening act or something. 2021 was pure stagnation, and the hope in 2022 is to see some kind of progress. The damage that Urban wrought on this franchise was deep. Developing Trevor Lawrence is paramount. Saving James Robinson and Travis Etienne is paramount. Proving that breaking the wideout market for Christian Kirk wasn't a hilarious fuck-up is paramount. The last ties to Jacksonville's brief relevance are gone. The time for a new era to emerge has come. Hopefully soon. Dealing with more bullshit is bad for business, but hilarious to the rest of us. The AFC, just like last season, is going to be a bloodbath. You can make the argument for nearly every team to be able to reach the promised land of the playoffs. And as a fan of the game, you can't ask for much more. The AFC East is pretty cut and dry, though. Buffalo will be taking that division with ease. The AFC North will go to Baltimore. Considering that they're finally healthy and able to field a respectable team should do wonders for them. To me, the AFC South is a coin flip between Indy and Tennessee. And I'm going to err on the side of the Titans for the time being. It's very close, though, just like the AFC West. Every team has a shot at winning the division. And for my sake, I'm going to go bold and pick the Broncos. I know, insane, but they actually have a QB and hopefully non-shitty play calling. That's all they needed. And as for the wildcards, it's a tough call, but I'm going to go with Kansas City, the Chargers, and the Bengals. I personally can't wait to see how wrong I am in these predictions, as always. Maybe they'll be as slow to develop as my vid schedule. Welcome to the Carson Wentz Conundrum. It's an absolute roller coaster. And not one of those fun ones. Think those old rickety wooden death traps that are rotting at an abandoned theme park. First, you'll go up the hill. You'll get a smooth ride from Carson headed down. Probably a couple of loop-de-loops, a few touchdowns, lead by multiple scores. All good, a nice thriller to get the blood pumping. Then in the middle, you'll get his Jekyll-forming Carson Wentz. Back-to-back interceptions on terrible passes. The coaster itself goes off the rails. It's grinding around on several different objects, flying across the theme park. Jacksonville takes the lead, and you're about to die. Shortly thereafter, Carson Wentz somehow saves the damn day by Deus Ex Machina. Deep, beautiful spirals to Terry McLaurin, guiding the offense in the coaster for another amazing catch by Jahan Dotson. Gently come to a stop at the entrance of the park, somehow alive with the win. Thank you for riding with Carson Wentz. We'll see you for the same damn heart attack next week, Washington. If you had hope about the Colts this season, I don't know what to say. Anyone with a brain could have told you that no matter what outfit Jacksonville puts out, they will own them in Duval. I could just copy-paste the same shit I said in Week 18 last year, and it would still be pretty accurate. The Jags looked like the well-coached veteran team. Trevor Lawrence and James Robinson had great games, and Matt Ryan looked completely washed in the face of that defense. They couldn't convert a 4th and goal to save their lives. You guys sure Carson Wentz was the only problem the team had? Thought they'd been clowned against the dregs of their division? Reich and Ballard? I'd consider updating your LinkedIn profiles if I were you. Is Jacksonville for real? Or are the Chargers just fucked beyond all hope? That's the question I've been asking myself since this game was played. It was unthinkable. Traveling to the West Coast is the equivalent of death for the Jags. They had lost 18 straight road games. If they not only won against the Chargers, they obliterated their opponent, convincingly suffocating them on all fronts, with Trevor Lawrence slowly chipping away at his sky-high potential every week. I wish I had good news for the team that should be in San Diego, but I don't. Everyone's in the infirmary. Justin Herbert should be in one, but they know he's the only way they're going to win anything. Yet the injuries keep coming. You honestly hate to see it, unless you're in San Diego. With this win, however, Doug Peterson has earned a glorious honor, tying Urban Meyer for the 5th most wins by a coach in Jags history. Honestly, these games have made Urban's tenure look even worse. Even if they're not perfect, it can't be denied that Jacksonville is a much stronger team than the last few years. Call it the homecoming effect. Doug Peterson is returning to the land where he won a ring, and then baffled with an inoffensive decision-making afterwards. Early on, the momentum was much in the Jags' favor. With a 14-0 lead, it was looking to be an absolute assertion of dominance. But this is the first lesson a young team must learn: overcoming self-inflicted wounds. Duval had a ton of them throughout the game. While it was raining, that's no excuse at this level. Trevor Lawrence can't botch snaps and fumble 4 times. With a team like Philly eager to stay undefeated, mistakes must be kept to a minimum. Impetus for action was taken by the Eagles, who proceeded to soar past their slumping opponent to maintain superiority overall in the NFL. Like many in this season, Doug Peterson did not get revenge against those that slighted him. He must settle for second best again. To be fair, it is an easy opponent to lose to. Keep your head up, Jacksonville. There will be other battles to fight. What the hell happened here? I thought Jacksonville was supposed to be this vastly improved outfit that looked like a surprise playoff contender. But here, against the Texans, it's as if Urban Meyer never left. Like most NFL franchises these days, team offense absolutely shit the bed. The Jags put on clown suits because it was a comedy of errors. Inaccurate passes, drops galore, mind-baffling play calls, and execution on 4th down. With all of this in mind, take a guess as to how many yards Jacksonville gained on the day. Over 400. And they didn't score a single fucking touchdown. Boys, this is Houston. They're as competent as a Kardashian analyzing quantum physics. They're begging you to take this game. But no, you have to be nice and slide them the victory as a re-gift at their kid's birthday party. You think you're redeemed, but you're nowhere close. Put on the dunce cap and get in the corner. Real teams need to be discussed. I don't get Jacksonville. They put together these outstanding games that make you think they're ready to break out as a contender, and then they do this. Just imploding crater against teams they should easily beat. The first half wouldn't suggest this as Duval surges out to an early lead. However, after that, the great Jags curse kicked in. They're awful against divisional opponents on the road. Indianapolis has their chance to get back into the game, and they do. With Indy down by 1 at half, the unthinkable is possible. The Colts having a winning record. Both offenses would take turns marching down the field in the face of exhausted defenses. Jacksonville strikes first. Indy proceeds to respond in kind with one of their own. The Jags have a chance at more greatness, but then baffle the mind with whatever this is. Doug Peterson play calling masterclass. It was here we all realized that Matt Ryan has found the form that made him an MVP in a past age. Asses throughout Indiana unclench as he's single-handedly carrying the Colts to relevance. Jacksonville chooses to respond in kind with another touchdown of their own, but they fail the two-point conversion. On their final drive, a field goal can win the game for Indy. However, Matty Ice has other plans.
Ryan's gonna throw it, taking a deep shot for Pierce down the field. He's got it!
He called game and teabagged Jacksonville's corpse. Indy may be skating on razor-thin ice, but with performances like this, they can ignore the horrible fate of mediocrity that will befall them. So much for the Jags being a sleeper team this year. I have one question. Why are the G-Men an underdog in this match? Have you seen how they've played throughout the year? They thrive on brutally ugly football. New York is devised to trap you in the muck and force you to play on their level. Jacksonville is progressing, but they still aren't that good. How many times do they have to bludgeon you over the head with a rusty cleaver until you get it? They'll play you tight, and they'll capitalize on every single mistake you make. Oh, you want to rush with Travis Etienne for a touchdown? Not with the way he's handling the football. The contest is close, but all I can guess is that Vegas wanted to make sure their bet's covered. Oh my goodness, Dexter Lawrence touched the QB's ass without saying good game. Roughing the passer! That bullshit leads to a Jags touchdown, but once again, what have the Giants been good at this year? Overcoming adversity. Daniel Jones hasn't been a great quarterback in his career, but he's been taking what's been given to him. He's managing the game well, which is a good sign for his future, whether it be here or elsewhere. The old Danny Derps would have turned the ball over 20 times by now. Here he takes them to the end zone with Saquon for the lead. However, despite another long drive managed by the Giants, Jacksonville still has a chance to win the game with a minute left. Cue more incredible ref ball, because let's be honest, Vegas never enjoys paying out. Zebras are doing everything in their power to help the Jags win. But the Giants are holding, and it'll come down to one final play.
The throw at the goal line. Caught by Christian Kirk. But there's no more time.
The Titans suddenly feel phantom pain. Thanks to their yeoman's mentality, the Giants are 6-1. What a goddamn world. New York doesn't have to suffer through shitty sports teams. Now, only if I could say the same for the Yankees. I was wondering when the traditional Jags home game in London would take place. Jacksonville tends to do oddly well here. Hell, they're bursting out to a quick double-digit lead. Chef Russ is too busy doing high knees on the sidelines to notice Trevor Lawrence is going to make his case. The case was botched during the opening argument at the 1-yard line. Now we see why the NFL put this game behind a paywall on ESPN+. No one should have to witness such horrors. This game was as much a shit show as the British Parliament. Unfortunately, Nathaniel Hackett's tenure as Broncos coach will last longer than 45 days. Jacksonville tries to fight to take the lead in the fourth, but their defense chose to pay tribute to clowns by bumbling around and ruining everything. They gave up red zone touchdowns to Denver. Multiple red zone touchdowns. That is damning all its own. You sure this is a pretty good team, Trevor? Since you opened your mouth, the Jags have lost 5 in a row. Everyone lost today. Jacksonville's back in hell and Denver's stuck on the ride that will never end. False hope consumes Broncos fans' whole. I can definitely relate to that. It has to be hell to be a Jags fan. You have all this talent in the organization that gets traded for pennies or picks that become nothing. James Robinson was just the latest example of such. But do you really trust this team? With all of those draft picks in tow? Being guided off a ledge by Trent Baalke? Please do something to help the team, man. Get some talent in here! No, not like that! You gambled on Calvin Ridley? A long-range bet? At least it doesn't cost much unless you extend him, but still. This is a baffling move for Jacksonville to make. Damn good talent, but what's to say that the Jags won't squander it like everyone else? This team needs Jesus. Was it worth it to try to skin the Patriots alive? Is witnessing Josh McDaniels butcher every single thing about the game of football what you imagined when you hired him? Because in Raider Nation, it's become a way of life. A lifestyle that allows you to piss away 3-score leads like they're nothing. Who cares if it's against Jacksonville? This is the third time they've done this in 2022. What is game plan adjustment? What is offensive cohesion? I don't care if you have the best defense in the world. If your offense keeps shooting 3-and-outs every drive, the D will wear down over time. The Jags were dead to rights riding a 5-game losing streak, yet they magically rose like a phoenix. Trevor Lawrence was suddenly making the throws everyone expects him to make, and led Jacksonville to 20 unanswered points. Las Vegas used up all their luck and good fortune last year. Back to the cold reality of being irrelevant in the NFL landscape. And it's their own damn fault for it. Rich Bisaccia may not have led them back to the playoffs, but he'd have done a much better job than this. To beat Kansas City, a few things need to happen. They need to take advantage of any opening they have, and the Chiefs need to play a suboptimal game. Unfortunately for Jacksonville, neither really happened. It just goes to show you how far the Jags still have to go before they're anything close to a playoff contender. Duval can huff and puff and ballyhoo all they want, but before long they're down 20-0 before the end of the first half. The game's done by that point. KC's too methodical and efficient to blow this kind of contest to the likes of Jacksonville. They must suffer through the might of every offensive weapon they have in a grueling loss. Almost 500 yards of it in their sleep. Sorry boys, this is a different Chiefs team. One that can mold themselves into any style they need to win. Try again next time. Hopefully with a more complete roster. And maybe an executive branch that isn't inept. The lightning delay was an ominous sign. Something about playoff contenders coming down to Duval tends to spell certain doom in many aspects. Baltimore had apparently sapped everything out of their offense. Last week's struggles against Carolina weren't a fluke. This game proved that's a feature of Greg Roman, not a bug. There's not even one specific thing to highlight that's gone to shit, it's the entire damn program. Roman went out and deleted System 32 from the hard drive and thought he was a genius for doing so. Justin Tucker is the only thing putting points on the board. The rest of the offense is all but dead for quarters at a time. Thank God the defense bothered to show up. This fumble pretty much forced Baltimore to score something resembling a touchdown. Because nothing represents the Ravens season more than pissing away multi-score leads. They've made it an art form. Like Picasso with the canvas, Baltimore sculpts their defense into an abstract painting. In no moment at all, the lead vanishes like John Harbaugh's job security. Jacksonville's playing admirably, but this defense is the only thing keeping them alive. That and Lamar Jackson.
Here I come to save the day.
Someone's going to pay this man all of the money in the offseason. With times like this, who doesn't get aroused? His coordinator may be past his expiration date, but Baltimore regaining the lead doesn't. However, Trevor Lawrence has an answer. He's been waiting for his breakout game, and this may have been it. He's having himself a big boy drive, perfectly dissecting a defense right for the kill. All he needs to do is wrap this up with a nice bow.
Lawrence throwing to the end zone. Marvin Jones! Yes!
But that's not enough for Jacksonville. A lesson has to be taught. They need to finish them.
Lawrence in the shotgun. Looking left. Throws left. And it's caught! St. Jones!
Statement made. Never trust the Ravens. They will find a way to crush your hope by their own damn doing. High-end talent has bailed them out of these situations before, but a 67-yard field goal in an open-air stadium?
Tucker! Kick on the way! Online! Does it have the distance? No!
Justin Tucker's good, but not that good. Not good enough to stave off the fall of the Greg Roman Empire. The Jags hadn't won a game where they were down by a touchdown in the final minute until now. They had lost 175 straight in this scenario. Victory swiped in the middle of the night like most hope that goes down to Duval. The Ravens fiddle while their division lead burns.
You blew it. You had it all and you blew it.
Perhaps the Detroit Lions have finally figured something out. In their defiance of stereotypical football, they featured one of the deadliest offenses in the league. This isn't a joke. Under this might, the Jags had no goddamn chance. No matter what they did, they couldn't stop them. over 400 yards of offense on the day. The Lions scored points on every single drive they had. Touchdowns each time they went into the red zone. It was complete domination on this front. And I don't exaggerate. Jared Goff had another 300-yard game this season. I'd feel bad for Jacksonville, but it felt inevitable. They just got crushed under an industrial press for 60 minutes. When the only highlight was Trevor Lawrence not being injured long-term after a freak incident, it was a bad day. Detroit will take it, though. They've now won 4 of 5. And people wanted Dan Campbell fired a month ago. The tides are shifting in the AFC South. No longer are the Titans sitting comfortably on their high perch above the floodwaters. They fail to understand that Jaguars can climb trees. As they sleep in peace, they are swallowed whole by an opponent that outfoxed them. Tennessee is a Fabergé egg. They're hollow and prone to breaking. While they may have a lead, while Derrick Henry may be destroying worlds yet again, it's only a matter of time until they self-destruct and fall apart for drives on end. Ah yes, here it is. Right on this painful fumble by King Henry himself. Once that ended up happening, Demolition City. The targets, everything. Jacksonville's offense taking the wrecking ball to the damaged Titans defense on pretty much every notable drive. Trevor Lawrence driving blow after blow and is further blossoming as a QB. Tennessee's offense? Endless failure. This was their best chance to secure a home playoff loss in January, and now it's not entirely certain. The Jags are tired of playing second fiddle, and they convincingly showed the world how here. It was pretty easy to do. The playoff push is reaching its final stages. Only one spot has been clinched by Philadelphia, but 4 weeks remain. In the AFC, it's wide open. Buffalo currently has number 1 seed, but Kansas City is close behind, if only because of a head-to-head loss with the Bills. Baltimore currently has the AFC North lead in the 3rd spot, and Tennessee has a loosening grip of the caboose division in the AFC South. Wildcards are currently held by Cincinnati, Miami, and the Patriots, but the Chargers and Jets are tied with New England at 7 and 6. A few other teams are 5 and 8, but they're long shots at this point. The picture will become clearer as time goes on. And as we all know, there's only one rule to follow.
Don't get eliminated!
Welcome to the first true test for a resurgent Jags team. Dallas is ripe for the kill after nearly blowing it against Houston. To assert yourselves in the NFL hierarchy, you must be able to not only keep pace, but stun those that defy you. So far, not happening. The Cowboys do indeed have a very potent offense, and they're showing it down in the heart of Duval. Straight up imposing their will on these poor assholes. It's looking to be an utter rout where the entirety of the Dallas Metro will be so smug it'll suffocate all of Texas. Don't blame them for it, they have a good team. In the blink of an eye, it's 27-10 in the 3rd quarter. The parades of exposing the fraud will line Commerce Street for miles. However, they forgot one thing. Trevor Lawrence is him. Being freed from the shackles of Urban Meyer has allowed him to actually develop into a competent QB. They did get some help from Dak throwing a bad pick, but let's talk more about Trevor. He's near single-handedly driving Jacksonville back into this game. He's even gotten them the lead on 3 straight touchdown drives. Now we begin the battle. Dallas responds in kind with 6 more points to retake the game, but tension fills the air. T-Law will press the issue.
More pressure. Lawrence spins away. How did he do it? Still on his feet. Inside the 40. Ball is loose and it comes out. And the Cowboys have it.
Or he'll try to do too much. Dallas can end it here, but predictably they can't. They must punt to give Lawrence another chance. And this time he'll succeed in getting them to field goal range. The mark of a true leader. Now for Riley Patterson to do his job.
Kick is up and it is good.
There's still a chance, and that's all Jacksonville needs. Never mind, Dallas's defense stuffs them on the first drive. Oh great, the Cowboys are going to escape themselves and get bailed out by high-end talent yet again. Just score that damn touchdown so I can be salty.
3rd and 4. Blitz coming. Prescott throws backwards and intercepted. Jenkins has another one. Racing down the sidelines. Rayshard Jenkins is going to win it.
I guess there really is a first time for everything. Gutsy. It describes Jacksonville's performance. They came back against all odds and won an improbable game. They were the ones that exposed the fraud. I'd laugh at Dallas, but that time will come when they somehow lose against the NFC South winner in January. We've had quite a lot of teams reach playoff land this week, didn't we? It doesn't mean we're anywhere close to settling how things will shake out. The AFC has many spots open to claim. Only Buffalo and Kansas City have clinched, and the Bills still have number 1 seed. Cincinnati overtakes Baltimore for the AFC North lead, as Ravens fans wonder why they keep squandering chances. Tennessee is far past that point. They've lost 4 straight and are in an existential state of dread. And for good reason. Baltimore has sole possession of the first wildcard spot with 9 wins, but it's probably a disappointment to them. Same as Miami, who falls behind the Chargers for the second wildcard spot thanks to losing their matchup with them earlier in the year. The Jets and Patriots, both with back-breaking losses, are the first teams out with 7 wins. They should be careful. There are a ton of teams with 6 wins, including Jacksonville, who's only a game back of their division lead. This is gonna be quite fucky, isn't it? Everyone left, you know what to say.
Don't get eliminated!
I watched a team slowly die on the field of play on Thursday. Remember when the New York Jets had hope? We all know that isn't supposed to happen. The gods will send their greatest agent of terror to do it. Zach Wilson may be known for sexcapades, but he was vigorously fucking his team all night long. This dude literally can't throw a football. The offense didn't move an inch under him. Little did he know that Jaguars are not Cougars. They are not keen on being another notch on the belt. Jacksonville will break through that stout New York defense on a miserable night and rattle off their 5th win in 7 games. They didn't even have to do all that much. Merely grab popcorn and watch the Boo Birds fly at Wilson as he's benched for Chris Streveler. He at least managed to throw a football with some accuracy. And that is how a player will be traded for a 5th-round pick this offseason. It's okay, Zach. There's a bright future for you as a guest on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. With a few big losses this week, the NFL playoff picture has become a mosh pit, as has been written for time eternal. The AFC North is still neck and neck between Baltimore and Cincinnati. Guess who plays each other in Week 18? That contest will more than likely be for the division title. In the AFC South, same scenario. Tennessee has fallen apart so badly that Jacksonville now holds the division lead. No matter what happens next week, their matchup is guaranteed to be for the right to advance as division leader. There are no changes in the first 4 seeds, but Buffalo can clinch number 1 seed if a few things go their way next week. In the wildcards, we know either Baltimore or Cincy will get one, and the Chargers just clinched another. But with Miami in freefall, the 7th seed is now murky. The Jets and Patriots, despite being awful as of late, still have a fighting chance. The Titans and Jags can still technically be wildcards, but their best shot of making it is winning their division. Pittsburgh and Las Vegas are clinging on for dear life, and will need many miracles to make it.
Don't get eliminated!
Rest easy, Houston. You were able to witness a potential division winner in this contest. The Jags have been playing with fire for the past 2 months, and this game is merely a matinee performance. Next week is the ultimate showdown with destiny. Something thought impossible until Tennessee started collapsing. This game was meaningless, but statements had to be made. Not to mention the Texans are eager to gain a well-earned loss for the quest of almighty tanks. Both teams won in different ways. Nothing else to say here. Jacksonville looks deadly, but the Titans are the true test. Week 18 looms large. Thanks to the no contest ruling, there will be a few wrinkles. If the Bills and Chiefs make it to the AFC Championship game, it will be played on a neutral site. This will occur if both the Bills and Chiefs win or tie, or they both lose and the Ravens win or tie. If the Chiefs and Bengals reach the AFC Championship and the Bengals win in Week 18, it will be played on a neutral site. As for the AFC North title, if the Bengals lose to the Ravens, home field advantage will be decided by a coin toss. As for the 7th seed in the AFC, some form of cannon fodder will secure it. New England controls their own destiny with a win-and-din scenario. Miami needs New England to lose and them to win to escape humiliation. The Steelers are still alive. They can somehow bullshit their way to it with a win and New England and Miami losing. Somehow. Fucking ridiculous.
Don't get eliminated!
The AFC South is next on the docket. The rules are simple. Win and in. A division on the line. Let's move on to the action. Imagine thinking that the Jags of all teams would have a chance at the AFC South title at the beginning of the year. No, we said. Glorified wildcard exits and the Titans and Colts have the best shot at it. Not in this timeline. Tennessee's in complete freefall. and is so desperate to move the football that Josh Dobbs is their best option at doing so. We have ourselves a grind. A sloppily played grind. Duval did their best to fuck it away, fumbling every key opportunity like they were back in the post-Jacksonville era. One that caused us all to writhe in pain. No one should be forced to watch the shitty, completely injured to hell Titans in the playoffs. That's a punishment worse than hell itself. Yet it seems to be reality. Jags can't overcome the might of the Tennessee defense. It's a hellacious landscape all its own. And I want a miracle so I don't have to watch any more of this garbage.
Dobbs is hit from behind. The ball's out. They're calling this a fumble at the moment. And the return by Allen for the touchdown.
Oh, thank God. This was the greatest victory America's seen since Bin Laden was killed. We have been shown mercy. The Titans have lost 7 straight to end the year. A total collapse. And it's not like it was unforeseen. They've been complete frauds all season. Football gods merely sped up the inevitable. Just like Todd Downing hopefully being sent to the guillotine. I think I know why the Jags made it here. No, it's not because the division was fucking terrible. It's because of Uche. They did this for you, man. I hope you're running the longest victory lap known to man up there. You've earned it. And there you have one of the sloppiest NFL seasons we've seen in a long time. Depending on how you view things, it's either thanks to a revival of defense or incredibly terrible offense. I'm on the side of the latter, but when you see a collapse of anything resembling discipline and technique, it tends to be like that. But as the playoffs await, it's time to get sappy and sentimental. I consider Sportsball as a project of sorts, and it feels weird when it's over. I want to thank you for joining me for another year of this madness, and I wish you all nothing but the best. It's been 6 seasons since I started this series, and I somehow haven't lost my damn mind yet. Perhaps these playoffs will do the trick. I'll see you all for the Haters Guide. What this Jacksonville year merely reinforces is how utterly terrible Urban Meyer was as a coach. You could have had a wooden plank become the head coach of this team and they still would have shown massive improvement. I'm not a Doug Peterson fan, but he's exactly what the Jags needed to right the ship. A calming, stable presence. Someone that'll actually allow players to develop. A truly novel concept indeed. It's worked wonders for Trevor Lawrence, who's blossomed into a stud all his own over the year. It's also worked wonders for that defense, finally coming together to be one of the best units since Jacksonville. Yes, even Trayvon Walker, the first overall pick no one talks about. They may not be anywhere near ready to compete for a Super Bowl. They're still a highly raw work in progress. But winning a division title no one wanted to win is always a sight for sore eyes. Starting a year 2-6, then rattling off 5 straight wins and 7 of 9 is a beautiful thing, and proof of their future upside. This team needed hope, and they got it. That's all Duval wanted. These were fans donning clown outfits this time last year, and now they clowned a rival team. Playoffs be damned, that's already a victory they'll cherish forever. Despite this being a winnable game, the Jags should feel no shame for the season they had. Going from shag clown to clowning LA's failson is impressive all its own. But even then, they weren't ready for a deep push, despite everything given to them by the Chiefs to win. Despite Patrick Mahomes being injected with enough Toradol to knock out an elephant. Despite KC's defense being as suspect as Carmen goddamn San Diego, Jacksonville couldn't capitalize. Any chances they had to win were squandered. Opportunities not converted. Fumbled away like Jamal Agnew in the red zone. Alas, all you can ask is what could have been. Watching Chiefs fans squirm would have been an outstanding sight. But once again, Duval was undercooked. But what a future you seem to have. A legitimate franchise QB manning the helm to hopefully catapult the Jags back to contending status. It's a beautiful thing. The only downside I can really think of is being stuck with Trent Baalke for the next 5 years. To be fair, that may be a brutal punishment all its own.